Okay, so this is a bit of a weird project for me. It's kind of a spur of the moment thing. I was trying to find a way of making htop output just like a single snapshot of its state, which I've since learned to do. But if you do it normally, if you just say like htop piped to aha, it keeps running infinitely because htop is like a dynamic, I guess you would call it a TUI. Um, it's a dynamic thing. It's always changing, so it just like keeps streaming the output of that into the output file. And it's also formatted incorrectly, although you can fix this, as I later learned. But I was playing with like PS aux, for just getting like processes and whatever. Oh, by the way you can save a single snapshot of htop with the correct formatting and all. So I was looking into it again last night. Is just you echo q into htop so it quits it immediately, and then you need line fix in aha. And there you go. Perfect. But anyway, I may end up using that. We'll see. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I want to like format all this stuff. Basically like a little site for monitoring the status of my servers. But since I was playing around with PS, I wanted to spice it up a little bit because I like the way that htop is formatted. It looks pretty good. And so I was looking into what tools exist for this. You have something like lolcat, obviously, which just sort of adds rainbow colors. Although, from what I remember, aha doesn't really pick up on this correctly for some reason. Not really sure why. But yeah, I was just looking into what other tools like this exist for like adding color to command line output and stuff like that. And there are various like kind of silly command line tools like cowsay. You just get an ASCII cow saying whatever it is. And I came across this one called Figlet, which you can use for making big ASCII letters. I think it comes with maybe like 7 fonts or something. Or I don't remember what the other ones are. But it has a few variations. And I realized that you could route the output of one figlet into another figlet as many times as you want. And you start getting some kind of cool stuff. Especially if you start mixing up the fonts. Start getting some neat things. So I started writing a script that would, you basically have a folder with seed files. You have something that is putting new files into there every so often. Like, for example, a cron job or a systemd service that takes a picture and SCPs it into that folder, which is what I had been using. Or as I used for the creation of this output. I just had a cron job that was saving a little snippet of TCP dump into the seeds folder. It doesn't matter what the file is that's going in there. It just needs to be a different file every time. And so I wrote a script that looks in that folder. If there's a new file in there, it gets that file, creates a SHA-256 sum of it, and then uses that, creates a chapter directory with that hash, and then uses that hash as the input to 3 iterations of Figlet. And each time it randomizes the font. Saves that output to an HTML file, and then repeats the process, hashing the previous page as the input for the next page. It just keeps going infinitely. Now the page numbers I have 0 to F 16 digits long. So there is technically a limit on how large each chapter can get, but there are like virtually infinite possible chapters. So it is there is technically a limit to how large this could be, but I think it would probably be like larger than all the storage on Earth could hold, or something like that. It would be something absurd. And so yeah, this was cool. I was enjoying it, but I wanted more variations. So I looked into it and I found some more Figlet fonts. There's a GitHub repo with just a ton of Figlet fonts. And so I added that, randomized it, and I was getting some cool outputs. However, I was also getting some just completely empty outputs. And it seems like for whatever reason, there are certain combinations of Figlet fonts, routing the output of one into the next. There's certain combinations that just break. You can route the output of one into another one with another random font. That's all fine. As soon as you route into a third, it breaks. But if you output it from the first one into that third one directly, it'd be fine. It's just like certain combinations of outputs and inputs break it. Now, I tried to avoid this with like sed, trying to like avoid some characters that could be messing with it. I didn't have any luck with that. I tried getting rid of problem fonts by just writing a script that went through and tested, like, went through the whole list of fonts and took the output of it, put it back into the input of it, and then put that back into the input of it to see if I could find which fonts like self-destruct, basically. Because I would assume that a self-destructing font is one that's more liable to break. And that, I would say, reduced the incidence of completely broken empty pages, but not entirely. They were still coming up. So what I ended up needing to do was just writing a little loop into it that after it generates the page, it checks the file size. If it's above 2 kilobytes, then it proceeds. If it isn't, it repeats the process. Just re-rolls, picks new fonts, tries again. And then for the audio, it's just using FFmpeg to interpret the raw data of the HTML file as audio. I could probably make it a little more efficient, um, because I currently have it doing this and saving it to MP3 and then re-exporting it as OGG. Um, because sometimes with data bending, the output you get will not really work right for some reason. And sometimes re-exporting it as another format will fix that. When I had first started doing this, I wasn't getting any audio out of it. I didn't know why. I was also doing this on a computer that maybe audio works on it. I'm not sure. I don't do any audio stuff on it. So I wasn't sure if audio wasn't working on that or if Firefox or LibreWolf or whatever just wasn't able to like recognize the audio because it had been data bent. So that's why it started re-exporting it as OGG. Not that that fixed it for me. I just later realized that I just made a mistake in the HTML file, like the default base HTML file that it uses. So I could probably make it more efficient by exporting directly to OGG or maybe just using the MP3 files themselves. We'll see. I'm not too concerned about it, but I could probably improve it in that aspect. I can also probably get the file size of the audio files down a bit if I want. We'll see. What else? Oh yeah, so I have to, another step in the process is after it gets the output from Figlet, it has to trim that down because you can see you get like these big giant spaces at the start and end. You get them in the middle sometimes as well, but mostly it's at the start and end. So I just have a little, I don't remember if it's sed or awk, but one of those kinds of things for just removing blank space at the start and end of the file. So I don't really know. I really like this project. I don't really know what the point of it is exactly. It was inspired to some degree by I saw the Solar Sands video called like it's not the Library of Babel, it's like the Photo Book of Babel or something like that. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a very, very cool video that is about this website that I think it's like, it's a kind of similar thing. I'm not sure if it generates the pages like on the fly or something. Like every time you click it, it just completely randomizes it. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's like a 640 by 480 canvas, maybe 256 colors or something like that. And it theoretically contains every possible combination. The crazy thing about this is that that would mean that it contains a like low quality, low resolution image of every possible thing imaginable, including a very low quality, low resolution image of you sitting at your computer looking at that web page on your computer, which is, it's so crazy. So that sort of stuck with me, and obviously like the inception of this was just playing around with Figlet, and I was talking with my friend at the time, and they were also very interested in the outputs I was getting from it, and just sort of, I don't know, brainstorming with them about what sorts of things it could be used for. I think it could be used for a game in some way. Like with this output, even, it's sort of pachinko like, I think. But it could also be used as some sort of like platformer thing. I don't know. I feel like you could use it in a game somehow, and I'm interested in exploring that at some point. But for now, I'm happy to have it as just like this infinitely growing website of infinite variations, infinite sounds. I don't know. I just think that's pretty cool. This is definitely the biggest bash scripting project I've done so far, or at least the most difficult. I think it has to be the biggest though, given that it's big enough to be broken into multiple scripts that run each other. But I've continued bash scripting stuff. Actually, I don't know that, so obviously I showed the point and click adventure things that I was working on like last summer, or started working on last summer, which are here on my site as well. Like this one. Oh, I really love this one. Pretty cool. Oddly nostalgic for me. That was less than a year ago. So I've continued with this kind of thing and started writing bash scripts for creating them, so I can use like the webcam on my computer and then run a script with the room name and take a picture, or take multiple pictures to make a GIF, turn 90 degrees, take a picture, turn 90 degrees, take a picture, and then it just automatically creates everything, processes the images, adds them to the HTML files, links between the HTML files, everything like that. So yeah, I've been using bash scripting for that kind of thing. I also used it in the glitch track that I am genuinely close. I'm so close to finishing it. I really need to finish it as soon as possible because it's the only thing keeping me in Windows 10 on my desktop computer, and I'm desperate to get off of it. It is so abysmal. And also, Ableton seems like it is about to self-destruct because this track is killing it. But anyway, I've continued with bash scripting stuff. I have also been doing some like more ASCII stuff. I mean, you can see in the background of my homepage here, this is an ASCII version of a picture of like a sandblasted wall outside of Walmart, something like that. I took a bunch of pictures of them because I don't know, it was a pretty cool texture. But I made a version of my point and click adventure script for ASCII art. So you can look at the black and white output, which is very difficult to look at, or it's very difficult to tell what you're looking at. I feel like maybe you could do something cool with that, being that like there's a game, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like, it may have been abandoned, it's not entirely clear, but there's like an alpha release of it on itch.io. I'll put a link to it in the description if I can find it. But it's this really like broken, glitchy mess intentionally. So it's like difficult to look at. It's difficult to like see what is going on, and that's kind of the point of the game to a degree. It's very cool. I need to finish it. It's difficult to play, I would say. But it's very, very cool. I feel like you could maybe do something with this, the black and white ASCII point and click thing, in a sort of similar vein of, I don't know, something that's, I don't know, murky in a digital sense. But you can also output with color, and that is a bit clearer to see. This is my kitchen. This is just both of these are just the cardinal directions in my apartment. This is my kitchen. I don't know what this is. It's like big black box. I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's very dark. Like, I think, oh, this is my Lego flowers. That's what it is. I have a shelf with a bunch of Lego sets. Yeah, this is my Lego shelf, and that's just walls. It's kind of cool. You can even see like the line, the corner, the walls. It's just my couch and my whiteboard, and then computers, or the monitors, and window and 3D printer. So it's quite a bit easier to see with the color version. However, the color version, the file sizes are a little insane, because if you look at the source, this is how it does the color. Around every character, it has span, style equals color, whatever, span. Around every letter. So yeah, the file sizes are a bit absurd. But I don't know, I got completely off track. Bash scripting stuff. Yeah, it's been fun. I've been playing with it a lot. I want to actually do like a real thing with it at some point here. I have things that I need to wrap up, so they're just sort of out of my mind, so I can move on to other projects and stuff first. But this is definitely the largest of these projects I've done so far. It kind of ballooned a bit, but I'm very happy with the result. I would encourage you to go check it out and, I don't know, see what interesting things you can find. I haven't seen all the pages, certainly. I think they're in the released version, like the version that I have on the NeoCities page. I think I had that running for like maybe an hour or so, and it was 4 gigabytes of output. And I think it's like, I don't remember. I think there's some command or something you can use for finding like the total number of files. But I want to say it's like over 1,000 pages. Maybe something like that. It's a lot. So there's a lot of stuff there. I have not seen it all. And once this system is like really going, there's going to be more pages and audio files than anyone will ever be able to hear or see. But that's kind of the point. I think I'm gonna get it running just sort of passively on one of my Raspberry Pis, and just like have it saving to a giant flash card or something like that, or a flash drive. Just like fill up a terabyte flash drive and have this unbelievably gigantic website of more or less useless data to explore around. I don't know. I think there's something cool to be done with it, but I haven't quite figured it out yet. But I think this project is cool in and of itself. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you check it out. I'll leave the link to it in the description, as well as the Solar Sands video and that weird glitchy game that I need to get back to because it's very cool. Yeah, thanks for watching.